Alright, this is going to be a video of this 42-inch Hampton Bay brand Bridgeton ceiling fan that came from my local Habitat Restore. And I actually got it at the Restore as I happen to be a volunteer there. Pretty much what I do for them is ensure that the ceiling fans they receive via donation are more presentable than how they previously came in. Also, just for those who are wondering, Hampton Bay is actually a Home Depot brand that sells all sorts of furnishings for around the house. However, mainly focuses on fans and lighting. To actually make these ceiling fans for them, they chose a variety of manufacturers over various periods of time. This one, just like a lot of their late 90s models, was made by SMC. Anyways, I'm now going to demonstrate the fan for all you guys, starting out with the light kit. As you can see, this is functioning, and I'm using 3 60-watt equivalent energy-saving compact fluorescent bulbs in there. I'll turn that off now. And for the fan itself, I'm going to begin with the high speed. Looking at the white piece of tape that I attached to one of the blade brackets for RPM estimation, I'd say that high is probably going to spin at about 225, maybe 230. It is a fairly fast fan and also pushes a decent amount of air, especially after I increase the blade pitch to improve performance. Next, for medium speed, medium is going to spin down to roughly 185, possibly 190 RPM. And even from back here, I can actually still feel somewhat of a breeze. I'm not exactly sure how well it comes out on camera, however the fan does have some audible bearing noise to it. It's not as much as I've seen on other SMC made Hampton Bay fans, however it is still noticeable. And last, however certainly not least, the low speed, which I'll be showing with the fan and light on simultaneously. And low is probably going to go close to 75, maybe 80 RPM. It's a bit of a fast low in my opinion. It also happens to be the noisiest speed, as the one where the motor hums the loudest. And I'll turn the fan off. And I'm now going to be talking about some general information on the fan itself. The Bridgeton is one of the more popular 90s Hampton Bay models sold here in Canada. I wouldn't say it's the most popular, as models like the Florentine 4 seem to be more common. However, these are still pretty prevalent fans here, and they definitely are, quite widely distributed across the country. I've seen many on Kijiji, Craigslist, and even at the Restore. Also, the fan is from 1999, so it was one of the later Bridgetons. I believe these were introduced sometime around 1997 and discontinued in about 2000. So they had a fair life cycle, I guess, for Hampton Bay models. And also, they were sold in multiple finishes. The white and brass combination seems to be the most common. It was also sold in all polished brass, which is actually somewhat rare. And I believe for a short time, it was also sold in all white. I believe that was actually a special buy, as the all white version seems to be highly uncommon and just not something you come across. And to conclude the video here, I'm going to be discussing the fan's pros and cons, and what I would rank it out of 5 stars. Beginning with the pros. Overall, it is actually a decently built fan, with a lot of 90s SMCs, both the SMC fans and the Hampton Bay branded ones, and such. The metal parts are fairly decent overall, although I do find the motor housing to be slightly flimsier than some other Hampton Bay models. And it is rather versatile, as the blades are reversible. Currently, I have the blade set to the bleached oak side facing down, and the other side is white, as you'll see here. As you can see, there's the white side, and you may also notice that the fan uses the older Hampton Bay style logo, which is actually a sticker on the switch housing. Anyway, I'll move the camera back to position here, so you can see the whole fan. There we go. Another thing I like is the fan is a decent air mover, even from factory. However, the bearings are rather noisy, and the fan hums a little bit on low speed. And personally, I find the blades are a little bit skinny on the fan. I really would have liked it better if they were slightly wider and looked more proportionate. However, other than those little minor flaws, if you will, it is actually a fairly decent fan, so I'd have to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Personally though, I'm really more of a Casablanca type of guy. However, for a Hampton Bay, it's actually quite decent. Anyway guys, thank you guys for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and there's lots more to come.